Right now, this machine is the absolute pinnacle of human genius. Unbreakable, immortal. But what happens when the clock of the universe fast forwards and we never come back? It doesn't just rust, it eats itself alive. And eventually, it becomes a ghost. Today, we are breaking the laws of physics to witness the beautiful, terrifying death of the modern world. Don't blink. Have you ever wondered what happens to the greatest technological marvels of our time when humanity simply walks out the door and never comes back? Look at this machine, a pristine Tesla Model 3 sitting silently in a dark, sealed, smart garage. It is the absolute pinnacle of 21st century engineering, a gleaming symbol of clean energy and unmatched human intellect. But there is a brutal truth hiding beneath that flawless, aerospace-grade aluminum. The immortality you see right now is nothing but a fragile illusion, a terrifyingly thin line before an inevitable, catastrophic collapse. Today, we are going to break the clock of the universe, fast-forwarding through deep time to uncover the chilling, yet completely mesmerizing fate of this modern icon, as it faces the one enemy it was never programmed to defeat. Right now, in these very first days after the global power grid falls permanently silent, everything seems frozen in perfection. The optical grade paint and tempered glass create a flawless shield, effortlessly locking out everyday moisture and dust. But that deathly stillness on the outside is just a spectacular trick played by the laws of physics. Deep underneath the floorboards, a massive lithium-ion battery pack weighing over 1,000 pounds, functioning exactly like a giant, restless electrochemical heart, is quietly cannibalizing its own life force. You might think that when the doors lock and the screens go black, the machine simply goes to peaceful sleep. Not quite. In the microscopic world, absolute stillness is a myth. Even as the human world outside comes to a halt, the artificial brain inside this car keeps waking up in a panic. It desperately searches for a Wi-Fi network that no longer exists, fruitlessly activating cooling pumps in a void, triggering a relentless, invisible bleed of power that engineers call vampire drain. And on an even deeper level, far beyond what the eye can see, billions upon billions of charged electrons are already rebelling. Through the bizarre reality of quantum tunneling, they refuse to stay put, slowly ghosting their way through microscopically thin insulating barriers inside every single battery cell. Second by second, drop by drop, the purest concentration of energy humanity ever harnessed is eating itself from the inside out. A technological masterpiece is helplessly counting down its final breaths in the dark, just waiting for nature to break down the walls and take back exactly what belongs to the Earth. And then, as the first 10 years quietly slip away into the dark, the final spark of artificial life simply winks out. The massive battery beneath the floor finally hits absolute zero, bringing a profound, terrifying silence to the garage. This is the exact moment of clinical brain death for our technological marvel. Without power, the invisible shields, the sophisticated ultrasonic sensors, and low-level electromagnetic fields that once guarded this steel fortress vanish completely. The car is now entirely blind, deaf, and utterly defenseless. And nature is always patient, always waiting at the edges takes its cue. It doesn't announce its invasion with violent storms or dramatic earthquakes. Instead, it moves in with a creeping, silent siege. Shafts of sunlight piercing through a dusty, unwashed garage window might look peaceful as they dance across the dashboard, but those relentless ultraviolet rays are actually acting like microscopic scissors. Every single day, they are ruthlessly snipping apart the delicate polymer bonds holding the central touchscreen together. The sleek, glowing command center that once navigated highways and streamed music begins to physically melt. The intricate liquid crystals rupture from their casings, bleeding out from the cracked edges and slowly dripping onto the vegan leather armrest below, like dark, heavy tears. Simultaneously, the biological world mounts its own quiet offensive. Tiny, scratching paws scurry across the dusty hood. Sensing the absence of that high-frequency electronic hum, families of field mice and insects breach the cabin, turning this luxury interior into a sprawling, multi-level sanctuary. Deep behind the dashboard, they discover miles of internal wiring. But these aren't the toxic rubber cables of the past. Modern engineers chose eco-friendly, soy-based bioplastics to coat the car's nervous system. To the rodents, the pinnacle of sustainable automotive design isn't a masterpiece. It is simply an all-you-can-eat buffet. They chew blindly through the main harnesses, permanently severing any hope of the dormant brain ever communicating with its mechanical limbs again. As the seasons cycle outside, the air trapped inside this concrete tomb grows heavy, thick, and damp, triggering a microscopic war on the exposed circuit boards. Trapped moisture settles like morning dew onto the motherboards, kicking off a slow-motion disease called galvanic corrosion. Wherever two different metals touch inside those complex microchips, tiny, localized electric currents begin to pull them apart, atom by atom. The brilliant conductive copper pathways are slowly eaten away, replaced by a fuzzy, chalky green rot. Without a human hand to intervene, the machine is being meticulously unbuilt, thread by thread, swallowed by the creeping shadows of chemistry and biology. Half a century later, the silent rot gives way to something far more violent. Deep within the belly of the beast, down in the pitch-black battery vault, decades of freezing winters and boiling summers have finally taken a devastating toll. The microscopic plastic walls, protective separators thinner than a single strand of human hair that keep the explosive elements apart, have become dangerously brittle. And then, one of them snaps. Two opposing chemical forces violently collide in the dark, creating a microscopic short circuit, a single invisible spark. What happens next is a terrifying, unstoppable chain reaction that engineers call thermal runaway. You might logically think that a fire needs fresh air from the outside world to burn, but this is no ordinary fire. As the internal temperature violently spikes, the complex metal oxides inside the battery's core literally break apart, vomiting out massive amounts of pure, trapped oxygen. The car is effectively breathing life into its own funeral pyre, supplying its very own oxygen to a flame that simply cannot be smothered. Not even if you drag this entire vehicle to the bottom of the ocean. A blinding, white-hot inferno erupts from beneath the chassis, rocketing past 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. It is a chemical fury that shows absolutely no mercy to the engineering marvels above it. The invincible aerospace-grade aluminum frame begins to weep and sag, completely losing its structural integrity. The reinforced panoramic glass roof doesn't just shatter, it warps and liquefies in the agonizing heat. The blaze is so ferociously intense that the steel and concrete pillars of the garage itself begin to crack, buckle, and fail, sending tons of shattered rubble crashing down. The sanctuary violently collapses, burying the glowing, molten remains of the machine in a superheated tomb. It is the ultimate betrayal of condensed energy, a stark reminder that when you bottle up the raw power of the elements, eventually, the chaos of the universe will always find a way to break out. As the embers of that great chemical fire finally cool and harden beneath the rubble, the clock of the Earth accelerates, and 1,000 years quietly bleed into 10,000. The skeletal remains of our car now lie entirely exposed, stripped naked of its protective anodized armor by the intense heat of the blaze. What is left is a twisted, charred carcass of metal, and nature is about to show us that it has more than one way to consume a fallen giant. We usually think of water and oxygen as the great destroyers of metal, creating ordinary rust. But biology is far more creative. Deep within the damp, acidic soil of a radically changing climate, strange, microscopic life forms awaken. These are chemolithotrophic fungi, bizarre, extreme organisms that literally eat rocks and inorganic matter to survive. To them, this graveyard of aerospace-grade aluminum isn't a monument to human engineering. It is simply a vast, untouched banquet. Spreading like a slow, silent infection, they sweat highly corrosive organic acids, patiently digesting the unyielding chassis atom by atom. Over centuries, the rigid, invincible frame of the vehicle turns hopelessly brittle, eventually crumbling into a ghostly, grayish-white powder of aluminum oxide. But here is where the story of this machine takes a truly breathtaking, surreal turn. It doesn't sink heavy into the mud to become a fossil, locked in the rock like the bones of ancient dinosaurs. The collapsed garage has left this tomb wide open to the heavens, exposing the powder to the violent, howling superstorms of a wild, unrecognizable planet. Massive thermal updrafts like invisible, raging elevators of wind sweep across the ruins and catch that fine metallic dust. Along with glittering microscopic shards of melted silicon glass and the very last atomic ghosts of microplastics, the remnants of the car are swept upward. Instead of burying our technological marvel, the Earth literally inhales it. The physical shape of the vehicle is completely and beautifully erased, lifted piece by piece to swirl high into the turbulent storm clouds above, becoming a shimmering, suspended mist of human ambition, dancing forever in the upper layers of the sky. And as the clock of the universe spins violently forward past 5 million, then 50 million, and finally reaching a staggering 1 billion years into the deep, unfathomable future, the Earth itself begins to grow old and weary. The fiery, churning core of our planet slows down, and the invisible magnetic shield that once safely wrapped our blue world begins to falter, tearing open wide, unprotected gashes in the sky. It is through these cosmic wounds that a relentless, invisible hurricane of charged particles, the solar wind blown from an aging sun, begins to violently strip away the upper edges of the atmosphere. And waiting right there, suspended in that thinning air, are those microscopic, shimmering ghosts of aluminum, lithium, and silicon. The very same atoms that once powered the motors, illuminated the screens, and formed the unbreakable bones of our technological masterpiece. As the brutal solar winds slam into these floating atomic remnants, they are ripped apart at the quantum level, bursting into one final spectacular display of energy. They ignite into brilliant, sweeping auroras, painting the dying, alien skies of a future Earth with the vibrant, glowing colors of a long-forgotten civilization. But they do not stay to watch the end of the world. The sheer, overwhelming pressure of the sun's radiation catches those glowing, ionized particles and physically blows them out of the atmosphere entirely, sweeping them away into the freezing, absolute silence of interstellar space. It is the ultimate, breathtaking completion of the cosmic circle. You see, the lithium forged in the fires of the Big Bang, the aluminum and iron cooked inside the collapsing hearts of ancient dying stars, they were only ever borrowed by humanity. We held on to them for just a fleeting, brilliant fraction of a second to build a beautiful machine. And now, unburdened by gravity, untethered from the memory of the engineers who shaped them, those elements are finally set free, drifting endlessly back into the dark, silent ocean of the cosmos, simply returning to the stardust from which they were born. And so our journey through the deep currents of time comes to a close for today. Thank you so much for traveling with us and daring to explore the hidden, distant future of the world we think we know. If this thought experiment sparked your imagination or made you look at the everyday technology around you just a little bit differently, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our growing community of curious minds. Your support is exactly what allows us to keep pushing the boundaries of time and space. I also really want to hear what you are thinking right now. Drop down into the comments section and tell me, what iconic machine, towering monument, or modern human marvel should we throw into the unforgiving crucible of deep time next? Share your most creative ideas down below, and let's build the next episode together. Until then, keep questioning the world around you, and I will see you in the next future.